Hey, Catherine, Matt, Jesse, look back here. Kim.
I just finished work today. Well, the reason this kind of fascinated me is because people are that is, they can attract, charm, entice other people to follow them or move towards them or follow them. And it's occurred to me that Jesus Christ is perhaps our most positive example of being magnetic. And we liken him to the Earth's magnetic field out there. And you and I are kind of like this unmagnetized steel rod with our molecules, our thoughts, our desires just kind of randomly scattered around. But Christ says, draw near unto me, and I will draw near unto you. And so it seems to me that if we align ourselves with Christ, then we gather more strength and power as we become more magnetic ourselves. As we commit to him with all our heart, mind, soul, strength, so we gather more strength. Now sometimes we don't want to do this voluntarily. And sometimes circumstances pound on us. And we can either line up to the north and become magnetized when these things happen and become stronger ourselves, or we can turn to an east-west direction. I forgot to tell you. Put this rod after you've magnetized, put it east-west direction, and it scatters everything and demagnetizes. So we have those choices ourselves. And Jacob has said, cheer up your hearts. And remember that you're free to act for yourselves, to choose the way of everlasting death and the way of everlasting life. And it's crossed my mind that when Nephi used the term iron rod in his vision, remember that? And it stands for the Word of God. That perhaps there's several reasons they use that simile or symbol. Because iron is strong and a rod is straight. And an iron rod has the ability to magnetize. So as we magnetize ourselves, as we become stronger and focused. And I know several people in this room who have focused themselves on their studies and or work, whatever, and they've been a lot more powerful. They've made great strides. They're doing great things. And I pray that all of us will choose to consciously draw near unto God so that he can draw near unto us. Jesus Christ.
Amen.
I have some little magnets for all the little kids.
Mm-hmm.
For all the grandchildren. And I hope I did it right.
Don't ever lose them.
That's right.
You'll always remember this. Well, I guess that's what we used to say about our parents. Hey, come on.
Oh, no, what did you get?
Yeah, nice.
All of it, songs that somebody wants.
Somebody must want.
Here we go. Kaye and I are first. Grab one out. This year.
Listen up.
Are we here? A reunion of my 312 Field Artillery Battalion group that was in World War II. We met, there were 25 members and their wives in most cases. We met in South Carolina. We had a wonderful time trying to outlie each other on what happened on the battlefield. They asked if I would give the opening prayer, and then
Yeah, how'd your talk at in Oregon go on the D-Day?
It was great.
I was there and it was great.
It was fun. We had 7 people talk about their experiences during World War II. They called pacifists. And it was quite varied. And I think Jimmy did a wonderful job. We had a good
That
time.
sounds.
500 people in the audience. Now clap loud.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Must have been good.
Now we're going to have a very
My pop is very appreciative of the fact that I need it. And I don't have one with me. So I'll just try not to need it. When they said that everybody was going to say something about their family and they happened to think I was here too, they said, well, you better too. And I said, that I wasn't going to do it. And then I remembered that Kristen had asked me about the drowning. And so I said, I will tell about that then and see if I can do that. So that's fine.
I don't think they know what the drowning is.
Okay, well, they will know. They will know if they answer this. When Kristen was 3 years old, Grandma was tending her, Mother was working, and Grandma Rushmore was tending her, and I was there, and I don't know what she did, but she slipped out of sight for a minute, and her grandmother said, where's Kristen? And she just got panicking. And I said, oh, she's all right. It's only been a minute. She couldn't be very far. And she said, oh, gee, you don't know that 1 minute you have them and the next minute you don't. Well, we found Kristen in a very few minutes, and all was well there. But this stems back from when Steve, my husband, 6 years old. Is everybody here 6 years old? Would you stand up and show how big you are when you're 6? Steve was 6 years old, and James was 9. Is anybody here 9? Or close to it?
Pretty close.
Would you make all stand up? Pretend you're 9, because you soon will be. And Walter was 11. Is there anybody here 11? Who's 11? Okay, then.
A 10-year-old.
Kathy, you're 10.
Stand up.
Would you stand up? Imagine you're a year older than that. Okay. This is how old those 3 little boys were. And they asked their mother, which is your great-grandmother Rushmore, if they could go up to fever was 106, and he was very, very sick. And Uncle Steve, my husband, and Uncle Steve, who just died last December, was down in the hospital with Uncle Bill and Aunt June and this little boy. And so he came home and told Grandma Rushforth and me that Brent was going to die. The doctors had said that it was so bad that even if that he lived, that his brain would be gone with that high fever that had been there so long. And Grandma Rushforth said, he's not going to die. He's going to live. Well, I joined with Uncle Steve and I said, Grandma, sometimes you have to have a different kind of faith and know that sometimes when they die, you have enough faith to let them die and know that the Heavenly Father's will. And she said, no, that boy is going to live. And we could not convince her. So Steve went back down to the hospital, knowing that he hadn't been able to convince his mother. And pretty soon he called back and he said, his fever went down. He's going to live. He's going to be all right. And for you older ones, you know Brent. And he's not only got a good brain, he has a brilliant brain. He was a straight A student through college, and he's a college professor today. And that's the kind of faith that Grandma Rushforth had, even though those dear sons of hers died. And you know, when Uncle Steve knew that he was going to die, and we talked a lot about it. It was, sometimes I've always thought I wanted to die in a hurry. Just have a heart attack and I still do. But Uncle Steve didn't have that privilege, and we just thought a lot of times maybe that was good because he and I got to talk a lot, and we reminisced about our good life and all what wonderful blessings that were ours. And we talked about who he was going to see, and he was happy to think about seeing his sister Gertrude and all of, his other brothers and sisters and his mother and his father and all of those, and his grandma or his mother who was her great grandma. And it's kind of nice to think about that. They're together, and he was excited about seeing his sister Gertrude, especially because she was at our house so much. And you people who asked me, in fact, Jonathan's cute wife asked, where do you fit in there? I've got her here. And I just want you to know that Gertrude and I were very good friends, were Byron. And my husband used to laugh about how we would visit way late at night, stay up after everybody else had gone to bed and play jacks. I was trying to teach our kids how to play and so on, but just see. They're just going to see each other, and I bet they're having a good time. So I don't want this to be a really sad story. Stay away from the water. Be careful. And I want to bear you my testimony that I do have faith. Maybe it's not as strong as Grandma Rushforth, because I was the one that said, oh, you have to have faith that it's all right to die. Everything to die. But Grandma Rushforth had the kind of faith that kept. It was a wonderful faith and a wonderful lady. So you have a lot of great ancestors in this family, both on the Rushforth side and the Nelson side. And I'm sure you do on the next parents too, in your heart. We're glad we're related. We have to reach out. So I said this in an interview with Josh.
Oh, we got some slides to show for Aunt Dee. Oops, sorry.
He was bishop about 2 weeks ago, and it's interesting how the gospel affects our lives and the things that we need to do to maintain it in our lives. And I thought, I wonder if it would be appropriate to bear our testimony. And so I was glad when she did. And I bore my testimony at sacrament meeting, or fast testimony meeting last week. And it was the first time I've done it in a long time. And Matt's going to be so angry because I'll share with you what I said there. And I was getting ready for church. Well, let's see, is that how I started? I was getting ready for church that morning, and I was doing my hair, and I said, how does my hair look, Matt? And he said, I don't know. And I said, well, how does it look? And he said, I don't know. spiritual and eternal appetites by doing those things that bring us closer to Him. And so I'm sorry to embarrass Matt, but I wanted to share with you the fact that I know the gospel is true. And at that time, I also bore my testimony of gratitude for the loss of President Benson and the things that he taught us and the instruction that he gave us an opportunity to become closer to our Heavenly Father. And I was also grateful at that time. I went in for a temple recommended, and the bishop said to sustain our prophet, and we didn't have a prophet. And so that was a really interesting experience for me to stop and reflect on the order of the church and to know that whether it had been President Hunter or whether we had received new revelation and in fact had a prophet who did not follow the order that we had experienced in the past, that because of the order of the church, we would know through personal revelation that in fact he was the prophet. And I'm grateful to know that President, whose name I just said, Hunter, is truly the little prophet called of our Heavenly Father. And Jeff, you don't have to do that. And so I expressed to you the fact that I know that Jesus lives, that the gospel is true, and that we do enjoy the blessings of people who have a living prophet at their head. And I say this in the name of Jesus Christ.
Amen.
And Jeff and Matt to tell you what they're doing. And Mike particularly has something that he's going to share. In the last few years, he's gone to BYU, and then he switched and he's gone to Utah State for a little while, and we'll go back to BYU next winter. But while he's been doing this, he's established a band, and it's really his band, and it's kind of had some turnover. Right now, they have the neatest group, and they are just so good together. And so he's going to share that with us, and then Jeff and Matt will tell us what's happening in their lives, and Matt's not happy. Mike and his band, while he's getting, Mike and his band has just cut an album, and they're putting it on CD, and he just had the demo tape. So I asked him to choose one thing from the tape and play it, and it's probably not what we oldsters would necessarily choose to listen to, although there are things on the tape that we would choose. The whole album isn't perhaps one that we choose to buy and have in our collection. But this particular piece is a piece that Mike wrote, words and music. Here's a plug right here.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, right. Oh, it's right there.
Yeah, good idea.
everybody stand up and where you're right foot is, where your left knee, and shake your elbow. Notice it's only my kids that are not doing it, see? Thank you, kids. My kids. Oh, well, it's been great so far. We've had a great year. Darcy spent her first year in college. It was our first child springing out of college. She went to Rinks and did beautifully well, wonderfully well. Had a great year. Came home for the summer. Glad to have her. We've had, let's see. Gee, what do you do? You wanted me to tell them your grades? Okay. And let's see, Jimmy baptized Sam this year. That's cool. Jimmy got to baptize Sam. That was a great event. Jimmy also got his eagle last year, and has played football and played church basketball and had a big year. Cubby played on her 9th grade team. Played football. She was the only girl on the team. She was a celebrity in the district. And she also played soccer on her team and has had many excellent events. Kim has done excellently in school and also played soccer this year. And excuse me?
She did drill.
Well, soccer at school, but you did soccer.
No.
Time flies when you're having fun, Jim.
Okay. In the year. Okay.
Yeah.
Kaye always likes to straighten her dad out. That's why you just do that. Good job. Let's see, what else? Then after Kim comes Catherine. Catherine's had a great year. What have you done special? Huh? She's turned 10. Gymnastics she's done. She tried ice skating, does dancing, she sung, she sings, and she's had a good year. Sam, of course, got baptized. And Fred, where is Fred anyway? Oh, hi there, Fred. You all know Fred. Yeah.
The boys in basketball.
Oh, yes. Sam and Fred both did basketball.
He did Little League.
And Sam played Little League. Just got finished with his last game on Saturday. So, that's our family. Any questions? Oh, and Mom did her 9th Christmas concert in a row where she sung, 15 numbers at Christmas time for the state. And had a couple hundred people there this year, and it was very good. Annie was born 2 years ago. We'll see how it goes. Let me show you our slides. We're still in school, but we make more money than I do.
I got a job up in Bear River High School in Tremont, Utah, which is about 10-15 miles south of Idaho on I-15. We had married in September. November. Yes. September is when I got married. November 29th. And we were living in Logan at the time, so, and he was born on the day I was doing grades for the first time. And it was school was out for the kids, but all the teachers had to be there to do grades. Halfway through that, Patty called and said, I'm having a baby, so I had to let the counselors handle the grades for the students, and I went on in. We had a kid, and let's see. Oh, then let's see, in May 1st or something like that, we bought a house, or moved in May 1st. I think we bought it 2 weeks earlier, but we had to rent it out to people who were living there until they moved out. And so we bought a house in Tremont, and it's nice. So you have to come up and visit. We actually do have extra rooms and kind of stuff, so we can hold a pretty good crowd. It's not quite as big as Jim's, but almost. And I don't have any slides. I take prints.
Actually, we do have some slides for you and Ron.
All right. And I think that's about all the highlights that I can think of. So, all right, got it.
Rod, you're on. You're going to make me do this?
We'll let Ron do it, and then we'll run through their slides.
Somebody said that?
Yeah, David's back.
David's back there, Rod.
Yeah, but David's slides are before Ron and Dave.
That's right.
I moved him, though.
Rod is up here, so he's going to talk.
I got my PhD in life the other day. And I decided not to do that anymore. I now work in the mental health profession. I'm a counselor. I'm on my way to the assistant program manager position in my company. I've been up the last 2 days looking for runaways. That's why I'm late. Did catch you though. Got married with my wife Stacy and her oldest daughter Tiffany back there. And that's my little squirrel right there.
see, Cammie had her last year of cheerleading. She has given that up to pursue things that are more in accordance with her standards. As a soccer player, and ended up going to the state tournament in Albuquerque. Wow. This year, Jessica also played soccer and began in shop the last year. Of course, she dropped it. And David was baptized this year. Well, you know, within the last year. He turned 8 last year. And Kaye was just a nice girl all year long. And let's see, Lorraine serves in the Relief Society presidency, and I'm a board clerk. And that's all we have right now. Side of the airplanes that you check. You check the radar, the inertial navigation system, the tactical air navigation. You go through and check all the displays, and you taxi out to the end of the runway. And by now you've already burned several 100 pounds of fuel. You take the runway, and you have a few more checks to do with the engine there. You run the engine up, make sure all the engine instruments are looking good, and up to this point everything is looking fine. And then the airplane has no stores on it, so it's as light as possible, because one of the things that you do is try to get the airplane to go Mach 2 later in the flight. So it's very light, it's very clean aerodynamically. And we're on the runway, me and the airplane, and you run the engine up, and check, make sure everything's working well, and it was. And you let go of the brakes, and you rotate the throttle and push a little forward, and it goes into afterburner. And one of the checks you do is there's 5 stages of afterburner that have the light, and each one kicks you a little bit faster. And so you take off in about less than 1,000 feet. And then you accelerate to about 500 knots, and you pull the airplane straight up, and you go there till 15,000 feet. You level off and do flight control checks. Well, I've just taken off. You level off just above the runway, raise the landing gear, and in the F-16, the flaps come up automatically with the landing gear. And the airplane's accelerating out, and I'm expecting to get to 525 by the end of the runway. And at 325, the afterburner turns itself off. And about 10 feet above the runway, and it throws me forward as you're accelerating real rapidly. And there's a critical action procedure in the F-16 that for engine failure on takeoff at low altitude, and that's zoom, which is get your nose away from the ground, stores jet, which is you jettison everything that the airplane has on the outside of it, and eject. And so the third step is to eject yourself from the airplane. And at 10 feet, 325 knots, the afterburner canceled, and I was kind of felt forward a little bit, so I zoomed, and I didn't have to jettison any stores, but the airplane was clean anyway because of the FCF, the functional check flight. And the next step was to eject. And in the zoom, I looked down and saw that just the afterburner had canceled, and that everything else was running correctly on the engine. So he came back around and landed. It turned out to be one wire that ran from the nose of the airplane back to the back end of the airplane, where the airplane thought that if it was at 40,000 feet and 200 knots, or 325 knots. And so right there is where it automatically turns the afterburner on. And so because its wire had shorted out, they thought it was there, so it turned the afterburner on. It took them 4 flights to find that out, but it was kind of exciting.
Thank you, Dave. Also, he's just over 2 months old now. And he's a pretty easy baby to take care of. So instead of having to hassle with him, we just got fun. And we thought that I'd tell about Larissa, what she's doing, she could tell about me. Larissa is still teaching canoeing, for those of you who didn't know that she did that. She got a job, I think, 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, something, teaching canoeing for BYU. And so she's still teaching that during the spring term, summer term, and first part of fall semester.
But I don't get an A-lot sticker.
Nope, she doesn't get an A-lot. But it's a really good job. She really enjoys it. And then during the winter, she's teaching ice skating. She's a figure skater, and she's been skating. Well,
great. I want him to do what he loves. So he's been working at becoming a pilot. He'll graduate from BYU with his degree in zoology probably in April. And at that time, he will hopefully already be a CFI, certified flight instructor. And then we're hoping to build and get a job with some sort of job that will take us to maybe Alaska. We can all come up and visit. We'll have the next one at Juneau. So, yeah, you're welcome. And so that's our plans. But basically, Jonathan has been doing a lot. He's working at the Provo Airport and making lots of really good contacts and just doing a lot of flying. And it's fun. And we took Peter up for his maiden voyage last week in a small aircraft. Is that it? That's it. That's it.
Those of you that were not aware of it, Jonathan and his brother flew up here and landed in a wheat field out here. Larissa saw these canoes out here, and Jonathan said she is an expert at canoeing. She said, when she saw all those canoes, she said, now I want to get a chance to show off.
But I want Chris and Allison. I think we should all sometime this weekend get a story from Chris and Allison. A canoeing story. They took my class and they were really good students. I think they should also do how good they are.
Let's hear from those two from Oregon State, Robbie and Marcy.
Marcy and I lived down in Fort Dallas. We both graduated from Sprague High School in 1992. We have Xavier, who's 13 months old now, and in bed. So he's pretty easy to take care of. Couldn't have gotten much more lucky on that. It's been pretty easy. I've been taking 20 credits a term. I'm going to summer term, so I'm studying business finance. I work part-time in the Family Business Center on campus, and Marcy raises Xavier and takes care of those kinds of things, which makes it a lot easier for me to go to school. I'm doing pretty well. I've won one scholarship to the business college, and I'm waiting on a couple more. Pretty much school is our life right now, so there's not much more than that. We're moving into a bigger apartment. We've been crammed in a one-bedroom apartment for a while now, so we're moving up. And other than that, it's pretty much just school.
Hey, we've been there.
This semester broke up yesterday, last week, and he starts again the summer semester Monday, so he's got to have a big vacation. Let's hear from our UCLA people now. Chris, oh there you are, Chris and Allison.
Chris and I both finished the degree last year. Chris did it and finished in cyber technology and music composition. He's also a jazz pianist. And I finished my bachelor's in public policy and master's in social science. And now we're both at UCLA doing graduate work. Chris is working on his master's and PhD in music composition, and I'm working on my PhD in social science. And obviously we won't work very much in our lives. But actually, Chris has the potential to make some money. In fact, he's got some stuff in the works now. So LA has a good place for that, where he can use some of the recording engineering stuff. And we're also expecting a baby next month. So we've had a busy year. And I think that's it. Oh yeah, we got our car stolen. We had the great LA experience of AutoVest. And so we just replaced it. We got a good one. Oh, and next year
to be with my own family, and the Lord has shown me how I can. The Lord has shown me how I can.
We should have Lorraine up here.
individual so we can all comment or boo or and whatever lousy thing anybody does. Okay.
soothsayer, a former marriage counselor to O.J. Simpson, the famous visitor from the East, Karnak the Magnificent. Welcome. I have in my hands the envelopes. A child of 4 can see that these are hermetically sealed. They've been sitting in a mayonnaise jar on Funk and Wagner's porch since noon today. No one knows the questions enclosed in these envelopes. But Karnak, the Magnificent, with his all-knowing, will deduce the answers, having never seen before the questions. Are you ready, great Karnak?
I'm ready. Karnak's assistant has had much practice.
I hold in my hand the first envelope.
Karnak must have silence. Batman, the Lone Ranger, and Rob Wilbank.
Batman, the Lone Ranger, and Rob Wilbank.
Name 2 people that wear masks and 1 that should. Catch 22.
Catch 22.
What did Jonathan Nelson do with 100 pop-ups?
With the pop-up.
22 out of the
Sharp crowd. Me. What did Geronimo say when he jumps out of a plane? Go West. Go West. What do you say to a tired wabbit? Go West.
What do you say to a tired whack?
Go West.
Boo!
I hold in my hand the next envelope.
George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. Karnak must have silence. George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and Bill Clinton.
George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and Bill Clinton.
Name 3 presidents that haven't done much for us lately.
I hold in my hand the next envelope.
Saudi Arabia, Iran, and the family reunion kitchen. Name the 3 greatest producers of gas in the world.
gas, booze, Saudi. All right.
Karnak's own daughter. Aunt Kaye's granola, dirty socks, and sawdust.
Kaye's granola, dirty socks, and sawdust.
Name 3 things that taste like Aunt Kaye's granola.
I like her granola. We like it.
Karnak must have silence. Sis, boom, ba.
Sis, boom, ba.
What is the last thing you hear when a sheep explodes?
I hold in my hand the next envelope.
Vegematic and Kent Wilbank's sacrament meeting talks.
Vegematic and Ken Wilbank's sacrament meeting talks.
Name something very sharp and something very dull.
Did you want to say which was which?
Respectable.
Will Rogers and Becky Wilbank.
Will Rogers and Becky Wilbank.
Name 2 people that never butt, a tuck, and a nut.
Okay, this game here, everybody's gonna have to be able to see what I'm doing. I'm just gonna do it right here on the floor. It's called Chinese numbers. I'm gonna lay 4 sticks out on the ground in a certain pattern. You have to guess what number it is, from 1 to 10. Okay, now if you figure out what's going on, good, but don't tell anybody. Half the fun is trying to figure it out. As soon as someone says, "Oh, I got it," and then gives out how it's going out and stuff, then it's over and nobody has any fun anymore. Last time I tried it, that's what happened. Try to refrain if you get it, because the half the fun is watching everybody else try to get it. So.
6.
Which one is 6?
Yeah, that was a 6.
5.
4.
3.
2.
That's a 4. Okay, that one last one was a 4.
8. 3. 5.
5. 7. 5.
Are you having fun?
6.
7.
9. 1. This is a 1.
That's a 1.
Oh, 1 to 10. That's easy. 14.
9.
Okay, it's a 9. Okay, it sounds like some of you got it right away.
Let's have a vote for hands. How many have got it?
Okay. Okay. Keep watching. We'll go a little bit longer.
Oh, that was good. Now, you guys are, now, who got married first between you and Allison and Chris?
When did you get married?
I don't know.
You guys are up.
I was there and thought you were.
I'm going to call you guys. You guys get up.
Okay, well, stay up.
You need the stereo?
Yeah.
You got it? Okay.
Way out, way.
Just play some jazz.
Something you do. That's for the dog.
Why don't we all sing? Wait, somebody has to sing.
It's your birthday.
Okay. I already know that song.
We're too old.
Sorry.
Hey, play a Marty song. Everybody will.
Chris.
I love you.
Zoom and Earth, okay? So, yeah, so what you do is, it's all started, I'll go to someplace and I'll start it and I'll go Zoom, okay? If I look at you and say Zoom, you've got to, either, you can do one of two things. You can say Earth, okay? So then if you say Zoom back to me, or Earth to me, then I go Zoom, and then the next person, it goes around to someone says Earth, and then it comes back like this to someone says Earth, and you just go Zoom, Zoom, Zoom. But if you say, let's say I say Zoom to you like that, then if you go Earth and turn the same way, you're out. Or if you say Zoom back to me, then you're out. So you have to have, you'll see. We'll go along real quick. And then with the thing will get smaller until there's only 2 people left. You'll get it really quick. Okay.
Zoom. For 15 years, and they left, and they never saw their dad again. He died on the ground. And they went to the Lamanites, and the Lamanites they converted promised that they would never take arms up. But their fellow Lamanites began to kill them. So they moved into Nephites' territory. They were about to break their promise and take up their arms and fight against the Lamanites because the Nephites were losing so many lives to protect them from the other Lamanites. And Helaman persuaded them not to do it. And also they found 2,000 of their sons who hadn't made the promise that they wouldn't take their arms up. So they were able to join the army of the Nephites. And they prevailed on Helaman to be their general. And Helaman wrote a letter to Moroni. And so the words that Helaman wrote to Moroni, I'll tell you some of them. And remember that it's a letter format with Mormon who abridged the whole set of records, adding in his extracts as they went along. And this is how it goes. They had done a classical Soviet lead-around tactic where the lead element came out and led the armies of the Lamanites away. They sent in the shooter element behind the Lamanites. And the idea was that they would surround the Lamanites in the middle. And this is a tactic we still use today, by the way. And the idea was that either the Lamanites overtake Helaman in his 2,000, or the shooter element overtakes the Lamanites and they have a furball where they kill the Lamanites in the middle. And what had happened is the Lamanites stopped and Helaman thought they might be setting a trap. So he says, what say ye, my sons? Will you go against them to battle? And now I say unto you, my beloved brother Moroni, that I have never seen so great courage, nay, not amongst all the Nephites. For as I had ever called them my sons, for they were all of them very young. Even so they said unto me, Father, behold, our God is with us, and he will not suffer that we should fall. Then let us go forth. We would not slay our brethren if they would let us alone. Therefore let us go, lest they should overpower the army of Antipas. Now they had never fought, yet they did not fear death. And they did think more upon the liberty of their fathers than they did upon their lives. Yea, they had been taught by their mothers that if they did not doubt that God would deliver them. And they rehearsed unto me the words of their mothers, saying, We do not doubt, our mothers knew it. And it came to pass that I did return with my 2,000 against these Lamanites who had pursued us. And now behold, the armies of Antipas had overtaken them, and a terrible battle had commenced. The army of Antipas, being weary because of their long march in so short a space of time, were about to fall into the hands of the Lamanites. And had I not returned with my 2,000, they would have obtained their purpose. For Antipas had fallen by the sword, and many of his leaders. Therefore the men of Antipas, being confused because of the fall of their leaders, began to give way before the Lamanites. And it came to pass that the Lamanites took courage and began to pursue them. And thus were the Lamanites pursuing them with great vigor when Helaman came upon their rear with his 2,000. And and began to slay them exceedingly, insomuch that the whole army of the Lamanites halted and turned upon Helaman. And now when the people of Antipas saw that the Lamanites had turned them about, they gathered together their men and came again upon the rear of the Lamanites. And thus we, the people of Nephi, the people of Antipas, and I with my 2,000, did surround the Lamanites and did slay them, yea, insomuch that they were compelled to deliver themselves up, and also their weapons of war. And after the Lamanites had surrendered themselves up unto us, behold, I numbered those young men who had fought with me, fearing lest there were many of them slain. But behold, to my great joy there had not one soul of them fallen to the earth. Yea, and they had fought as if with the strength of God. Yea, never were men known to have fought with such miraculous strength, and with such mighty power did they fall upon the Lamanites, that they did frighten them. And for this cause did the Lamanites deliver themselves up unto us as prisoners of war. They, shortly after that, had received so many Lamanite prisoners that it was important for them to take them to Zarahemla. They had to use all their force to guard the prisoners, and they couldn't wage war. Also, they received 60 reinforcements of their, in addition to the 2,000 they had. They got into a battle where they were about to lose, and it would have meant losing the whole western half of the land of Zarahemla. And this is what Helaman says about them, again, in his letter to Moroni. But behold, my 2,060 fought most desperately. Yea, they were firm before the Lamanites, and did administer death unto all who opposed them. And as the remainder of our army were about to give way before the Lamanites, those 2,060 were firm and undaunted. Yea, they did obey and observe to perform every word of command with exactness. And even according to their faith it was done unto them. And I remembered the words which they said unto me, that their mothers had taught them.
Okay?
midnight shall be dear to her. She shall lead her ear in many a secret place, where rivulets dance their wayward round, and beauty born of murmuring sound shall pass through her face. She is still my lady.
thank you everybody for your participation. And Chris, happy birthday. And we're going to have, Dad, do you have anything else?
I just wanted to show them the score that Chris read as he played that. Figure it out if you
Yes.
I got those birthdays down there on that.
Oh, yes. Jimmy, run down on the podium down there and get the birthday list that Aunt Kaye has down there. And now, Kaye, why don't you describe what these are?
Well, it's just everybody's birthday by month.
Everybody in the
So we will know when to greet each other, send greetings, or phone calls, or whatever. I've got one for each family.
And I left the addresses at home. I mailed them to each family. Have a good address list.
Oh, thanks. Why don't we, let's see, how would you like to pass these out?
I've got their names on them.
There's names on them.
I've got names.
Oh, okay.
It's penciled in.
Okay, Chris. Oh, why don't you just pass them around and we'll get them to everybody. Look for your own.
Oh, whoops.
Here. Start at Chris.
Yeah, you'll be near the
What's your song?
Don't know that one.
Start, pick one.